Thank you for joining us today on Kyzcast. Kyzcast is an artist platform that highlights the message behind the vision. Artists will showcase their music, poetry, business ventures, and opinions. This platform is a judge-free zone. Negative comments and/or feedback are not welcome here. We respect all art in all forms because we are artists and we are sensitive about our shit. Today on Kyzcast, we welcome singer and songwriter from Chicago. Her name is B. Lynn. What is your music background and what inspires you to make music?
My music background includes growing up in the church, being a part of the choir since I was a child, and being a part of all school choirs available at the schools I went to. Choir was a huge part of my life. It's pretty much shaped a lot of my musical abilities, and I also started taking piano lessons when I was in high school, and I wrote my first song when I was 14. And what inspires me to make music is just my ability to feel like, with the gifts God gave me through songwriting and singing, I feel like that's the outlet that I'm supposed to reach people through. Everybody has their own gifts and abilities, but I felt like music is specifically what I'm here to do the most. And so just what inspires me is the way I feel when I hear a song that is pretty much about my life from someone who doesn't even know me. And I hope to have the same effect on listeners of my music.
Who are your biggest influencers as far as artists?
My biggest influences are Kirk Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and Tori Kelly. Those are probably, and India Ari, definitely India Ari.
I love India Ari. She's so dope.
Yes, she is everything. And she pretty much embodies everything I'm about. Like, she's spiritual. She writes amazing love songs. She's inspirational. And then it's like she has her own flow of woman empowerment. And I just think it's really dope. Like, she just makes people feel love. Like, you just feel like you're on the cloud when you listen to India Ari. And so I really love her. And I love Stevie Wonder's ability he just can sing, man. And he's an amazing songwriter. And this dude, has hits in almost every successful black film. And that's something I hope to do one day. So I would say Kirk, Stevie, India, and Tori Kelly as far as the new artist, because she's just amazing.
Speaking of India Ari, she, from what I know of her, and I followed her, she doesn't sell sex to get attention. So
right.
That goes into my next question. How are female singers and artists able to compete in a male-dominated industry without selling sex? Like, do you have to be like India Ari, or are there other ways to portray your creativity?
Yeah, there are. I think the number one way to compete in a male-dominated industry that way is to, one, be original, be yourself. I think everything India portrays to be is exactly what she is, and that's why she's been able to be so successful. If you're the India Ari type, and you got, how you can just share a personality with somebody. If you have the same personality as India, then do the India thing. If that's not your flow and you still don't want to sell sex, just be you. Be confident. That's like the number two thing. One, being original. Two, being confident in whatever your thing is, to make sure that you're adamant about not giving in to that route, while doing your art. So I think originality and confidence is how you can successfully strive in a male-dominated industry.
In what ways do you encourage or uplift women in your music?
In my music, I like women to know that, God has their back. I had a song that I dropped called Copycat, and it pretty much describes not being sad that you're single, but being happily anxious for the guy that God created for you. Saying that you don't want a copycat, someone you already had, because God wouldn't do you like that. And it's just, I just try to let women know, like, it's cool. Like, if you're singleness is not, it's not a disease. It's not a bad thing. And if there's anything that women, that I want them to know through my music is that it's all good. One day you're gonna have, the exact kind of love that you daydream about, and that, be encouraged. You're beautiful. Even when I'm not talking about love, I want women to feel like they can be anything. If I'm writing a positive song, I want them to know, like, whatever you dream to be, you can be. And it's all going to always lead back to, God had you here on purpose, for purpose. You know what I'm saying? And that's just really what I want them to hear when they listen to my music.
How important is image as a female singer?
Image is very important as a female singer because, unfortunately, the music industry is so, like, the attention span is so small. It seems like guy artists could probably pull off wearing a t-shirt and some shorts on the tour, and it won't be a problem, especially if you're a rapper. But there's so much attention on how women look, and and I'm not even saying that you have to look a certain way, but just care, because it's going to help you in the end. Care about your image. Make sure that your image, reflects your music, reflects your personality, because, whatever you wear, as long as it reflects that, then it'll be the best outfit you could possibly put on. The image is very important. I think that all artists should make sure they look their best, when performing and keeping everybody's attention, just out of respect for yourself and, respect for the platform and the opportunity that you've been given.
How important of a role is social media in your career? Is it a requirement to have a social media presence as an artist? Are there new artists blossoming without any social media platforms?
Social media is very important because that's the way the world is going. Now, there are times where social media really irritates me, and I just wish I could just, like, delete Facebook and Instagram just because of, some of the things people post. But I also know that it's just one of the largest outlets, and it's not doing anything but growing and getting larger. So I think if you use your social media, for your art, then you'll be just fine. I think it's very important to post what you do on social media. If you're a singer, sing. If you write, sing songs you write, or just write, perform whatever you write. If you're a musician, you should play an instrument sometimes on social media. And eventually people will share that. The thing I love most about social media is how the people who support you personally will share your work publicly, and then that's how strangers and new fans, get birthed by the share button, by the repost app. Like, it's super dope that social media is now where they allow, people to share things, and I think that's how things get around. I would encourage anyone that may only get a few posts right now, like, keep at it. Eventually, the little things will become medium things, and the medium things will become big things. And as far as if anybody has made it without social media, I'm sure that there are certain people that haven't had to go that route. I don't think that social media is the end all to how you can get on. I really don't, but I do think it's important. But I think somebody can also be found, at a poetry set or an open mic performing. It may have the driest social media, but the right person to get an audience, and boom, there you go. There go your door.
Yeah, a lot of times it's about word of mouth, or,
right.
Somebody was just at that club that one time, and you happened to get signed or something,
Exactly.
Stuff like that happens all the time.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question I have is, it seems as though R&B artists are not being represented and pushed the way hip-hop and pop artists are. What challenges do you feel R&B, if any, artists are facing in the music industry today?
For whatever reason, it seems that R&B is always in a drought. I wouldn't call them the underdogs, but it's just that, I don't know, like, a lot of R&B artists they have the same sound. Everybody has the same sound. And the difference between now and my favorite era of music, the 90s, even though the 90s pretty much had like a similar set, I don't know, the songs had more substance, you know, it was feel good all across the board. It didn't matter if Monica may have had a song that sounded like Brandy, or Brandy might have had a song that sounded like Aaliyah. We still was going to buy Aaliyah, Brandy, and Monica's albums separately. Now, you know, with Apple Music and these different musical outlets that allow us to not buy the whole album and choose certain songs, you know, I think a lot of R&B artists, they sound the same. They just all have the same sound, you know. Sometimes you'll think one artist is somebody else because they sound so similar. And I think the challenge they face is, I keep going back to this originality word, but it's so prevalent. Like, you have to sound different. You cannot sound like your peers in the industry while you're out at the same time. It's not gonna fly. And I think that may be a challenge that that R&B is missing, is that everyone is sounding just like each other, and we get confused.
How do you feel about the new and younger generations of R&B music? Do you think that their wave can push R&B music forward?
Yes, I think.
And what I mean by like new wave is like there's like a new sound, and it's like all over Spotify and SoundCloud. I don't really know what to call it, but it's just different. But it's still R&B.
Yeah, it's definitely. I know the sound you're talking about. I think I probably noticed it maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years at the most.
Like when Khalid came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Like
Daniel Caesar.
Yes, love him. Oh my gosh, I was just listening to his album. Now him, I appreciate his sound so much. You know, he is like he just lyrically. I don't know. His whole vibe is super cool. But the thing is, Daniel Caesar has a similar singing tone as Frank Ocean, but we don't know what Frank is doing right now. So there's room for Daniel to grow. There's room for him to prosper, because we may have been confused if Daniel and Frank were out at the same time. And that's that thing that R&B keeps doing. They keep pushing everybody that sound like each other at the same time. But right now, they're not doing that. And right now, with the Daniels and the Scissors and her, you know, like people like that, like they come in with their own thing. They come in with their own look, their own sound, and just, you know, just beautiful voices and a beautiful message. And if it stays like that, you know, R&B has a chance to come back. They have a chance to come back as long as if they can stay in, like, and even Kehlani, like, I love her. She's so dope. And just you know, like, they doing their own thing. And if y'all can stay y'all, then, you know, it'll just be an amazing impact. So I definitely do think R&B is coming back. I just, you know, think as long as it stays original, then we won't run into the same problems that we keep running into.
With the direction in which the music industry is headed today, is it better to have label support or independence? Why or why not?
I think that it's better to be independent if you can be independent. It is a very expensive journey, one that will, you know, turn out to be well worth it. But, you know, everyone doesn't have the resources, the contacts, and, you know, the finances to be independent. But if you don't mind, you know, if you don't mind just getting in the trenches and doing whatever it takes to make sure that you have full control over your music and your art and your look, then keep at it. You know, the thing about time is if you're doing your best, the opportunity is going to come exactly when it's supposed to. The key is to just do your best. So I think independent, if you can do it, do it. It's the wave. It's the route to go. However, I think that, you know, if the right label, one that doesn't mean bad, one that's not trying to, you know, change your image. If the right label offers somebody who's not able in the ways that I named to be independent, then, you know, pray about it, think about it, whatever you do to get your answer, do that. And if you feel like it's a fit, you know, try it out. Maybe not sign a contract for a long time, but, you know, maybe try it out for 2 years. Or maybe if a label offers you management as opposed to, you know, the whole package, I think right now we can kind of be more specific. We can kind of choose a little bit more than when artists could just, just sign everything, their whole being away back in the day. But if I had to choose, I think independent is the number one wave right now. If you can ride it, get on the wave, it'd be great.
How do you think we can bridge the gap between record labels and artists, whereas it seems like when an artist signs to a label, depending on what their leverage is, they're not able to be as creative as they want, or they're not able to be as original as they want because, their label has other plans. So in your opinion, how can they communicate, or, what can they do? Like, what can we do to fix that? Because I feel like there's a way that we can meet in the middle rather than just not being signed at all, Like,
right.
How do we fight for ourselves, like for our art?
That's a really great question. One that I think we're all still scratching our heads on. I too often, wonder about that because that is a huge thing that is happening. I don't know if it, first of all, I wish that, somehow labels could just look at themselves and just, like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to just sign somebody and then completely change who they are, completely change their sound that came in, back in the day, probably when Motown was just popping off and when these labels were just, beginning, they signed people because of who they were right then and there. And they just enhanced that same sound, but they let the people be themselves. And I don't know if it's going to take labels going back, maybe watching some documentaries or just, sitting down and figuring out, okay, why did this label even begin and where did we go wrong? Why are we trying to be so controlling? I think right now, if artists that are independent are able to maybe get funding from a label who will still allow them to be themselves, I think it might be better for labels to not just completely sign people, 100%, but just cover what they can't do. If a label sees an artist that's already dope, but maybe they don't have the money to go on tour, maybe they don't have the money to pay for a band or do the little things that will make them be better than what they already are without a label. If labels can just do the necessary things instead of doing everything and then changing their artist in the end and getting sued in the end because the artist finally figured out that they signed a bad contract. If we can minimize those steps, the controlling steps, and I think we'd be good. But they're too controlling right now.
Yeah, it seems like most artists, like, who are older, they say they signed a bad contract.
Yeah. It's like I watch
you never hear nobody talk about they signed a great contract. Even like famous people.
It's sad. I pay attention to these things. Like I watch every single biopic that comes out about artists or music. I'm right there. Anything BET, MTV, Lifetime, anytime they come out with a movie about an artist that I love, I'm right in front of the TV, and the same thing happens.
It's the same story.
The same story. You signed a bad contract, but then if you watch the Jackson 5, you watch the Temptations, that's not in there. You don't see that.
Right.
The only thing you see is, they may have died. Yeah, exactly. They may have died during a overdose or something like that, but they were fine. If their career was ruined, they ruined it themselves. Not because the label didn't love them and were trying to push them. But now you see artists signing these bad contracts, and this is like, okay, in my head, I'm like, okay, they releasing these movies for a reason, and they're choosing to write that in the script because it's true. I appreciate them putting it in there because it's like, man, how come everybody from 90s on had bad contracts? Why are these labels so thirsty? I don't get it. But it keeps happening.
Yeah, it's definitely something to talk about. I feel like a lot of artists are talking about this right now.
Yeah,
especially with social media, because now we can voice our opinion,
right,
and create a movement.
Exactly.
This is good. Okay, so I just have two more questions.
Okay.
What role does music play in our mental health and wellness, and how does your music convey a healthy release of emotion?
Music, it has this amazing ability to put you in several emotions, several mental states. You know, when you're going through a breakup, there are so many songs that you've heard. You know, a lot of people like to wallow in the breakup and listen to their sad songs, which is fine. You know, if that's what they got to do, they want to feel like somebody can relate to them. So you know, when you're feeling sad, sometimes people prefer to listen to sad songs as opposed to happy songs. Or like for myself, I like the more happy songs, but even when I'm not going through something bad, there are just some really great breakup songs that exist. Like, and I just listen to them lyrically because they're really great songs. It doesn't put me in a bad mood, but I'm just like, this is a really great breakup song. And I think just music just really can uplift you. You know, when you're in the gym, most people have workout playlists that get them turned to work out more, or when you're running or doing different things. The thing I love about Apple Music is they have different categories now. Well, not just Apple Music, but Spotify and Pandora. Like, if you're writing a paper or if you're just working on your computer, they got chill as like an option for the kind of music you could play. Maybe you're not paying attention to what they're saying, but you're just hearing songs that just have a chill vibe to it, with like ambient sounds and like really soft stuff. Or when I'm going to sleep, oftentimes I actually like listening to nature, and they have this playlist where all I hear is trees and water and birds, and it just makes me sleepy. So as far as my music, like, I want to be able to make songs that people make they morning jam, or like they night jam, or they chill jam, whatever emotion I could do. Like, I want to be able to do them all, just so people can have a diverse experience when listening to my songs, and trying to get into different mental states. So I think music is super heavy on the mental, super heavy.
In what ways do you contribute or give back to your community?
The community is dope. I am a part of an organization called Donda's House, founded by, well, it's based off Kanye West's mother, Dr. Donda West, and it's everything she felt about music and wanted to give artists a platform to create and be free and expressive. And oftentimes we do festivals for the communities to come out and just listen to new artists perform their material. We're always just trying to be a part of different platforms to give back. We're working on some things for 2018 for the community to just know who we are and know who we represent. Outside of that, I'm already like charting down different ideas of ways I can give back musically. I'd love for there to be some type of event specifically for homeless people to just get a free concert. We don't have to bring in nobody that's famous. If they homeless, they might not know them anyway, but if they can just, hear great music from artists who are just speaking message music for them to encourage them, I think that would be, a really dope idea, just to give a concert for the homeless, and just, they should be able to enjoy certain things too that they may not have had the luxury of recently, with their life situation. But I try to find different ways to do that. And then outside of music, I'm always donating clothes to the Salvation Army or different organizations giving clothes back. I do the can drive, in November. I didn't do it this past year, but I've done it so many times where, I just buy a bunch of canned goods and give it back to those who don't have it around the holidays. So giving to the community is very important, because at the end of the day, I want the community to support me. And, I can't be selfish and only feed my people, people that know me. I got to go out and I got to make sure, Chicago, I have to find ways to make sure that Chicago is starting to know who I am, so that when I get outside of Chicago, they can't say they never knew me. My advice to anybody that is pursuing music: stay true to you. Don't go listening to what's popular right now and make your sound that if that is not you. It's important to educate yourself on the modern sound, but it's also important to educate yourself on the older sound. Like studying your craft is so important. So important. Whatever your artistry is, whatever your musical ability is, just make sure you're the best at it. Don't compare yourself to other people. Just like be in a race with yourself. Race yourself. Don't no need to be jealous. Don't let social media make you feel like you're not far along because somebody else may have gone viral overnight doing something that probably wasn't that important. But it doesn't even matter. That's what happened for them. But the same thing can happen for you in a completely different way. So my advice is to stay true to you. Stay true to who you've always been. Make sure your art reflects exactly who you are, because the people who really know you will be able to recognize. There's nothing worse than people putting you in check and being like, why you being fake? Nobody should be able to call you out on being something that you're not. People should always say, wow, that's exactly who he or she has always been. I'm so happy that you stayed true. That counts, man, especially for the people who have been supporting you their whole life and who want you to win. They matter the most. They've been there. They know you. They can't wait to tell the whole world about you. People should always feel like they know exactly who you are through whatever you do. So stay encouraged. Never feel like you're running out of time. If you're still alive and you're breathing, then every day is a new opportunity for you to get better and for somebody new to know you. So keep at it, man. Don't ever quit if you feel like this is what you're supposed to do in life. I can be found on my Facebook fan page is B-Lin, that's D.Lin. On Instagram, if you type the same thing, I'll come up. My official Instagram name is Official B-Lin. So it's just read like Official Blend without the dot. But if you type in B.Lin on Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, you'll be able to find me. I released a single this past October called Copycat. It's on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. You can just type in Copycat, B-Lin on those. It's also on Google Play and Amazon as well. If you type in Copycat B-Lin, it'll come up. Also, I released my first video to the song that's on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube and type in B-Lin, B.Lin, I'll come up too. Just keep typing that same thing on everything you can think of, and I should pop up. I'm not on Twitter, but I'm pretty much on everything else. So if you look me up, you'll find links to my songs, and you'll find the 2 videos I released this year. In 2017. And so I have a project coming out in 2018. The date is still being decided, but I'm very excited about that because it'll be my first official project, and it should be something that I hope people will enjoy.
I'd like a boyfriend, but I don't think I'm ready for one. It's probably best just to wait till he comes. I want talks and I want dates. Give me love, don't give me hate. These are things that I feel I deserve. I don't want no copycat, someone I already had. God would not do me like that. He's already waiting for me. Love is on its way. Love is on its way. I'd like to hold his hand. I'd like to be that friend. So now I'm waiting until he arrives. If I just be myself, he won't need nobody else. Then I'll know he was made just for me. I don't want no copycat, no. Someone I already had. God would not do me like that. No. He's already waiting for me. Love is on its way. Yes, yes, yes. Love is on its way. Its way. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Love is on its way. Hey, love copycat, someone I already had. God would not do me like that. He's already waiting for me. Love is on its way. I say yes, love is on its way. I tell myself that love is on its way. Love is on its way.
Thank you for making Kyzcast a part of your day. Tune in every Monday for full interviews with more great artists. Kyzcast is streamed on SoundCloud at Kyzcast and at www.nikkikanekaiser.com. That's www.KNIKKIKANEKYSER.com.